why did you think that you need to visit a psychologist or a doctor in the first place?
I need to enhance my physiological and mental experience of life, and I feel like some things are holding me back from doing that. How does homeopathy play a role in all of this on an alchemy level, on an emotional level, on a spiritual level to assist with this?
So when I say the case goes on for 2 hours, it is not actually the cancer that we are treating. It is the personality that got that cancer that we are treating. So not only the cancer symptoms are taken into consideration, it is the whole personality that is taken into consideration. That what triggered, what are the events of the past, how that person is as a person, how was his how is his behavior to things, reactions, actions, everything. We actually do give medicines, and it's not steroids, because there's a wrong notion that उसमें कुछ दवाई नहीं होती, but there are tinctures.
यही नोशन ब्रेकडाउन हमें करना है कि उसमें कुछ दवाई नहीं होती, बट क्या दवाई होती है?
There are tinctures, like and those tinctures are in a very minute nano forms, which they claim is energized to a level that it can work on a psychological level as well as physical level. It can cure the psychological symptoms plus the physical symptoms. So the mind and the body both are covered.
So basically these podcasts are, let's say, imagine so that we're on the same page and both very comfortable with everything. Is first, we don't have to pretend to be anything.
Yeah.
We're not in this moment. We can be whatever. I can share what I'm feeling. You can share what you're feeling.
Yeah.
It's very raw and unfiltered. There's no rehearsal behind this or a script.
I'm totally unprepared. Like, I have to, be very spontaneous of what you ask me.
That's the best kind of preparation. I also don't know what I'm gonna ask you, so
That's great. It's gonna be good.
Yeah. So basically, yeah, it's very simple. It's just two strangers meeting for the first time as if they have met before, and just flowing with the conversations where they're going and letting whatever needs to come up, and we just holding space for that, for one another, and for whatever is coming up. Okay. So yeah, tell me a bit about you first, just like who you are and.
Okay. So first of all, I'm a Gujarati. I'm from Ahmedabad. I am located in Ahmedabad. I am a doctor, a homeopath more precisely. But I am into the mental health, field. I love dealing with people, helping people deal with their stuff. I like hearing out. I like hearing people share their problems. So while being a homeopath, while case taking, I got a bit transitioned into this psychotherapy and therapy and counseling, and I started enjoying the sessions, with people. It fascinated me trying to figure them out, what is troubling them, what is it that they're thinking, why they're thinking so, why are they not able to decipher their own feelings. So it kind of fascinated me, and that is how I transitioned from homeopathy to psychology. And also, I am a part-time medical officer. I work in a cancer hospital, so that also adds, it gives me a feeling of gratitude that I am doing what I'm doing.
Hospital, it's also homeopathic related or more?
It's both.
Okay.
It's both. And going there gives me purpose to my life, that okay, I'm able to help them. It gives me a sense of satisfaction, job satisfaction जिसको बोलते हैं. So I get it from there, that I'm able to help them. वो बोलते हैं cancer patients are the ones who are troubled by God themselves. So helping them, easing them, gives me a kind of satisfaction that I'm doing something good in my life.
And how did you? So first, how did you get into homeopathy, and how did that transition happen from just being in homeopathy to working with cancer patients and having psychotherapy and psychology as part of your kind of kitty?
Yeah, so let's say you get admission in homeopathy if you don't get admissions in MBBS. So I did not get good marks in my 12th examination, HSC boards, and I had to settle down for homeopathy. But it kind of got into me. In homeopathy, one of the peculiar characteristic of that stream is that there's a long case checking that happens, for an hour and a half, 2 hours, and where we ask everything like what are they feeling, why are they feeling, try to get into the deep, minds in their minds. So that is how I transitioned. It is similar to how psychology works, deals with how people's mind works. Homeopathy is more of how their mind caused the disease, or what is the reason this thing is happening to them, what is the mental status behind the sufferings that they are going through. And that helped me transition to the psychology part. Medicines, yes, it is difficult, but I do practice homeopathy, but I'm more into the psychology stuff because it fascinates me more.
And have you observed through your own understanding that how much working with the psychology part is helping treat people's diseases by themselves through their mind?
Yeah, many of times when I was doing my internship, when I was given a case, that I was asked to take a case, I had to sit with that patient for long 2 hours. Most of the patients which came out after the session were, already feeling better by venting out, by expressing themselves. Most of them, they used to tell me that I felt so better after talking to you. So it kind of eased them. Half of their worries were solved. It's like they were heard. Somebody was there to hear them. Nobody is trying to understand me. मुझे ये हो रहा है, ये लोग समझ नहीं पा रहे, आप समझ गए. So kind of, it made them feel better after the first session itself.
Interesting.
So that gave me a notion that it is at the present moment, it is more of psychosomatic more than somatopsychic.
How do you work with psychosomatics? So, how do you work with? I've been actually thinking about psychosomatics a lot lately, just through my own understanding of my own body and some conditions I have, and I'm really consciously applying that to be changing my own mental state with that condition.
Yeah.
In kind of just not just thinking, but kind of just being like completely changing the experience in my mind about it, and that is eventually changing the experience in the body. So how does that work on a deeper level, psychosomatics?
So for a psychosomatic disorder or a condition, the root cause is the psychological condition or something which is happening in your mind, which is causing the physical symptoms. I would say the most common example would be palpitations caused by anxiety, or a patient suffering from depression gets fever. So we don't treat the fever, we treat depression.
Right.
That will help the patient to deal with the fevers. Fever is a presentation of your state of mind. Or
it's not
palpitation.
It's not just walking with symptoms basically, but going to the root cause of them.
Yes. It's like you're bleeding and you keep on wiping out that blood and not treating the actual cause. If you treat why is it bleeding, where is it bleeding from, it will automatically stop.
Let's do an experiment. Pretend I am a patient coming to your clinic, Dr. Vishwa. How does it go? How do you start figuring it out?
So most of the patients, let me say this, most of the patients.
I'm a patient. I've come to you. Let's start with this.
So tell me, how can I help you, Karthikeya? What is it that you think is troubling you, or what do you think is happening with you?
What is troubling me? What is troubling me is I don't know what is troubling me, but I'm here. You tell me what's troubling me.
How would I know that what's troubling you? Okay. Why did you think that you need to visit a psychologist or a doctor in the first place?
I just feel like I need to enhance my physiological and mental experience of life, and I feel like some things are holding me back from doing that, which I
Okay.
cannot identify.
Okay. So can you like tell me something about yourself, about your family, hobbies? So I'll go into deeper level like that.
What would you like to know?
Everything that you would like to share. You're comfortable in sharing.
My family is good. I grew up in a boarding school. I was a nomad for last 15 years. My hobbies are like gardening. Um, Writing is not a hobby; it's more like a profession. But yeah, art, like paint stuff, art stuff is my hobbies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how was your life at your boarding school?
Oh, it was the cause of many traumas, but I feel like I have looked at all of that a lot and let that go, and found a lot of peace through that.
So how did you let it go?
I think just watching it as an observer, the movie of that time, without identifying it as Kartike's story,
Yeah.
and allowing the movie to be seen without any kind of like association of it with feelings of pain or whatever. And even if they came, it was just about watching them, acknowledging them, kind of like hearing somebody, and yeah, and then it naturally just
Yeah.
kind of happened, releasing itself. Yeah.
So didn't you have that questions like why did it happen to me? Why me?
Yeah, the victim state. I had that. Yeah, I had the victim state for sure, and eventually I realized like it happened to Karthike in a moment in the past,
Yeah.
but that doesn't have to be the moment that is now. And in the now, I can choose to be in a different state of mind and not the victim state of mind. And I acknowledge the victim state of mind, but I don't need to give it more power anymore.
So does it trouble you still? Like does it come back to you?
Lesser and lesser, and it doesn't trouble me so much anymore because I've really, like, how it works, where some, let's say, trauma is a strong word, but like some events that really kind of have a strong physical, emotional reaction from your response that kind of stays with you for a long time. And then it keeps like replaying itself in the mind. And for some time, I was kind of rejecting that playing. And at some point, I just started to accept that and just started watching it as a movie. And then slowly, the movie started diminishing, and the feelings associated with that movie as well started diminishing. Yeah.
So how was the transition from this, being a victim to being a third person in your own story?
It was. I took therapy. I took therapy, and he really helped me to be able to look at those states, be able to give love into those states, those memories, and the transition was. It took time for sure. Time is a big healer, and it was an effort as well. But eventually, as I started just making peace with it, I felt lighter and lighter. And yeah, the transition was kind of like initially cathartic,
Very.
and then going into more peaceful states. Yeah.
So the reason you were able to pull it through, or get over it or let it go, was you were consistent. Most of the patients or people whom I deal with, they're not consistent. They don't want
Why?
to,
Why
they
is
don't
that?
want to go through that pain.
So they're kind of scared of
Yes.
that
They feel
event.
like they're already suffering. Why should we suffer more?
How do you help them break out of that?
There are two choices I give them. There is pain in your current situation. There's pain when you go through that situation of transition. You have to choose your pain. There's no substitute for pain. Which pain you want to choose? The one you are currently in is dull, aching, long-term pain. The one that you'll face while transitioning, it can be very cathartic, traumatizing, excruciating, but it will be short-term and you will get out of it.
Interesting. And how do they do it?
They don't. Most of them are not able to. Unfortunately, they're too scared of that excruciating pain for the short time. They're okay with the dull, aching pain that, comes and goes, and it is through their life.
And they kind of give into the coping mechanisms.
Yes.
Yeah.
So they're okay with the stomach ache, but they're not okay with that cutting pain.
Right. And this is what, so I feel like this is what develops into illnesses and chronic
Yes,
diseases.
100%. Yeah.
Do you think
The
it
chronic
happens that way?
illnesses. Definitely.
Yeah.
The stubbornness, if a person with a personality who's very stubborn, there are, cases, I've seen cases that stubbornness is reflected in their diseases that they suffer from. Like a chronic cough, which is very stubborn, it doesn't go easily. And if you decipher, or if you, dissect their personality, you'll find that their relatives, the family will say that the person is very stubborn, doesn't listen, do what he or she wants to do. And that is reflected in what you suffer from.
Do you see this pattern reflecting in patients with cancer as well?
Yes. I've had seen one of the case of an old man who was suffering from leukemia. Leukemia is basically, your WBCs get reduced.
Yeah.
Your immunity reduces. It reduces on its own. It's a blood cancer. So when that case, I was in a conference, and when that case was shown and the patient's history came out, his son told that to the doctor that my father has been very stingy. एक रुपए का हिसाब रखते थे ना, हमको खुश रहने देते थे. Always, counting, calculating, saving money. Yes. So that personality reflected in his disease.
Interesting. And how does homeopathy play into this? So, for example, let's take this example, you're seeing a patient who has this personality, and you're seeing the disease that is quite, let's say, stage 4 cancer.
Yeah.
So now you see that, okay, the personality is not changing, he's over 60 years old, it's very hard to change that mental frame. Then how does homeopathy play a role into this? Like, what does homeopathy do? I know about Ayurveda a lot, but not so much about homeopathy, even though I have taken homeopathic medicines in the past. But how does homeopathy play a role in all of this on an alchemy level, on an emotional level, on a spiritual level, to assist with this?
So when I say the case goes on for 2 hours, it is not actually the cancer that we are treating. It is the personality that got that cancer that we are treating. So not only the cancer symptoms are taken into consideration, it is the whole personality that is taken into consideration. That what triggered, what are the events of the past, how that person is as a person, how is his behavior to things, reactions, actions, everything. From minutest thing to like what temperature of AC that person is comfortable with. That level of case taking happens in homeopathy. So all of that is matched with the pharmacology that we have, and that is when we administer a drug. And as you said, when the case has reached that level that it is not operable or it is not manageable, the only thing that we do is to palliate that patient.
So I wanna go deeper into the homeopathy aspect, because let's say, for example, in this scenario, Ayurvedic things, you give them herbs and start working on their specific organs and blah 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 blah. How does homeopathy really work? And it's especially for people who know about, because everybody's heard about homeopathy, but not everybody knows how it works and what it is exactly as a medicine. Because a lot of people are like, homeopathy doesn't work, it's just whatever. So can you like debunk things about it and tell us more about the process of homeopathy and specifically how it works with patients, and what have you seen from your own experience, homeopathy healing these kind of traits, even in personality, mind level?
Yeah. So first of all, nothing can change the personality, not even homeopathy or not even God. Okay. So personality is what that person, it will remain for till the person dies.
By personality, do you mean the ego or
id, ego, super ego?
But don't you think through spiritual processes that we do, or even psychotherapy processes where we get people in higher states of consciousness, we get them distant from the ego and looking at that, so you kind of
the core personality remains. I feel if the patient with that, when I gave you an example of the cancer patient, right? Even if we have treated his cancer, I don't think that stringiness will go. The core personality remains.
Interesting.
You can modify it for time being, and I believe so. What you're talking is behavioral patterns and not personality. We can change the behavioral patterns of a person, we can train them, we can educate them. We cannot change that person's personality.
So let's say a stingy person cannot become unstingy?
No.
You think so? You really think that?
100%. The
Really?
biggest
Wow.
example is my own mother.
Have you told her, Mama, you will get leukemia if you don't get unstingy?
My mom is had idiopathic thrombocytopenia. So what that means is, due to, it's an autoimmune condition where your platelets goes down and down and down. If that happens, you bleed to death. So it's an idiopathic. You don't know the cause. You cannot treat it. And the only treatment for that is steroids and chemo drugs, or if it is more chemo drugs, steroids. There's nothing you can do. My mom at that point became steroid resistant. So the steroids stopped working on her. That is when I decided, why not try homeopathy? And we did continue the steroids.
Let's go more into the homeopathy aspect and also share how it worked on your mom and other patients, please.
So we did continue the steroids, with her to not cause any emergency bleeds or sudden down na ho platelets uske liye. At the same time, we started our homeopathy treatment with her. It took around 1.5 years for her to get back to normal. It is a long process, long journey, but it did not change her personality.
But what did homeopathy do to cure the disease? That's what I want to know. How it
So what the homeopathy did, see, anything, I'll explain you what is an autoimmune disease. Autoimmune disease is when your own cells start eating your other cells.
Yeah.
And that is a disease because it is something unnatural that is happening. So when something unnatural happens, there has to be a cause. It can be anything. It can be psychological, it can be physical, it can be environmental. We don't know. So there are certain diseases where there are no causes. It is autoimmune and it is something. It can be genetic, it can be sudden, it can be arising after an infection. So the infection is cured, but it triggered that autoimmune thing. So that is what happened with my mother. It triggered her autoimmune reaction after getting cold. She had minor cold. The cold got cured in one day, but that autoimmune remained. It started a reaction and it started eating her platelets. So when the case was taken and a medicine was given, it doesn't treat the ITP symptoms. It treated what triggered the autoimmune thing.
How? What is like? Tell me more about homeopathy. I'm really curious now.
So,
Like,
what I've studied.
What is it doing on an alchemy biological level? That allopathy and Ayurveda is not able to do or is doing, but homeopathy is also doing.
Yeah, homeopathy is also doing more in chronic diseases, finding the root cause and treating the disease of a personality. Basically, you don't prescribe the disease medicine for ITP. I did not prescribe it for ITP. It was for my mother as a whole. So it not only reacted her psychological state, physical state, and immunological state. It reacted at each level. So there's a medicine, a similar. The medicine. We actually do give medicines, and it's not steroids, because there's a wrong notion that उसमें कुछ दवाई नहीं होती. But there are tinctures.
यही notion breakdown हमें करना है कि उसमें कुछ दवाई नहीं होती, but क्या दवाई होती है?
There are tinctures, like and those tinctures are in a very minute nano forms, which they claim is energized to a level that it can work on a psychological level as well as physical level. It can cure the psychological symptoms plus the physical symptoms. So the mind and the body both are covered.
And how are these tinctures identified, created, and identified in response to the diseases and given that way?
The same way allopathy medicines are identified. It is tried and tested on humans.
Right. And these tinctures come from where? Plants or chemicals, or what are they?
Everything. There are classified pharmacology. We have some from chemicals like sulfur. Sulfur is a medicine in homeopathy. If given in a raw form, it is a poison. But we have tinctured, we have worked on it, and we have done it. We have given it a medicinal form, which has zero side effects. Plus, it cures amazing. It gives amazing results. So sulfur.
Homeopathy started from Germany. Some German guy started it.
Yes.
Okay. Can you tell us a bit more about that?
Sir, the one who started his name was Hahnemann. And he was in Germany. He was an MD physician himself. So he was an allopath, and the story says that he was not satisfied with how allopathy worked. All that excruciating pain and suffering that the patient had to suffer because of the medicine, because of the disease and the side effects of the medicine. And that is how he decided to develop this. So he started working on tincturizing all of the medicines. We have a medicine from allopathy medicine also. We tincturize it. All the medicines that are harmful or not causing lots of side effects, they've tincturized it. That it actually cures.
So
we have it from plants. We have medicines from your goat's milk, cow's milk, ginger, garlic. You find medicines from everywhere. Anything there.
These
I'll tell you an interesting case. You've heard about that Berlin Wall? Yeah. So there's a medicine made from that wall as well.